And welcome to episode 7 of the Rogues Den Show. This week we turned Daniel into a woman.
I am Danny.
This is Emma Tickner, the other Tickner, just as loud, and coming to you from the Rogues Den Show. So stick around, we've got so much information to get through. It's going crazy! Alright, so this week, or last week actually, CinemaCon happened in the United States. It's a huge event where all the distributors from different studios get together and they present all their films that they've got coming out in the next sort of 12 months. And there was a monumental amount of movies that were announced and also some big news out of there as well. The first one being Jon Watts. Now Jon Watts, if you don't know his name, he's actually been hugely successful with Tom Holland's Spider-Man series. And he was helming the new Fantastic Four movie for Marvel, and he's actually resigned from that position due to workload pressures. So obviously that guy is struggling a little bit, carrying the entire Sony Spider-Man franchise on his back. That he's had to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah, we just need to see if it's going to actually be a good Fantastic Four movie.
Well, that's it. Now that there's no director, it's going to be terrible.
It might have actually been okay with him doing it.
Exactly, he would have done a great job.
It might have actually we might have actually had a good movie.
Yeah, well, these things happen, I guess. The other thing is that all the fans are still out there tweetering away, or whatever you want to call it, to get John Krasinski to be Mr. Fantastic. So that'd be fantastic. Oh, see what I did there? Anyway, moving on. With CinemaCon, we also saw some footage from Keanu Reeves' John Wick 4, which looks really, really amazing. And that series, well, that franchise has been hugely successful since it spawned, 4 films now. So that's pretty amazing. We also saw a little snippet from Expendables 4, Rise of the Geriatrics.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure except Expendables 5, it'll just be retirement home.
No, it's just going to be a single shot of a graveyard, that's it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already known, the Expendables franchise is a collection of 80s and 90s action heroes that all get together and go on these adventures. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do with the 4th installment, which apparently doesn't have Sylvester Stallone this time. So he's stepped back and he's just executive producer, I believe. So we'll see what happens with that. The other big thing was the Hunger Games prequel, which is called
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
That's the one. So they showed a little bit of snippet from that. It's still in production at the moment, I believe. So they didn't show too much of that, but that's a pretty big franchise, I guess. And Suzanne, did she write the books for the prequel?
Yeah, Suzanne Collins, who wrote the original Hunger Games books, did write the prequel book as well.
Yeah, cool. So the source material is all, under one umbrella, but we know that sometimes that doesn't work. J.K. Rowling. So anyway, moving right along, Tom Cruise rocked up. He showed some footage from the new Mission Impossible movie, or trailer he showed actually, which also released the title, which is called Dead Reckoning Part 1. As we know, the film has been broken up into 2 parts, so, film 7, film 8.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to get to a point where he'll stop making these as soon as they stop letting him do his own stunts, basically.
Well, yeah, as soon as he can't do stunts anymore, breaks his spine, then I guess that's the end of the Mission Impossible franchise. And then they'll just put him in space like they're going to. But anyway, so we know that production has been plagued with problems, obviously with the pandemic, and then they also ran out of money as well. Tom Cruise had to actually go back to the CEO of Paramount Pictures and ask for more money to finish the franchise off, which is pretty amazing considering that, generally Tom Cruise runs a pretty tight ship. And, there was that time where a bit of footage was released of him screaming at people not wearing masks and stuff like that. So I guess when you got $250 million riding on this, you pretty much want to get it right. But yeah, so other than that, Paramount then took the lead. They really hit it out of the park this year at CinemaCon. They also announced the spin-off series to A Quiet Place called A Quiet Place Day One, which is going to be helmed by Pig director Michael Sinofsky, which is pretty cool. And I love that series. I think it's really cool. Have you seen A Quiet Place?
I sort of saw the first one, but what I do know is I would die in like 10 seconds flat.
You're not going to survive?
I can guarantee no.
Is that because you're loud?
Yeah, it's in those places, that's the one thing that'll get you killed.
Exactly.
It's not knowing how to be quiet.
A Quiet Place, not Emma's house. So also coming out was Transformers Rise of the Beasts, which sees the Beast Wars franchise spring to life inside the Transformers universe, which would be really cool. The Chris Pine-led Dungeons and Dragons, which is pretty amazing. So, and apparently that one's going to be exclusive to Paramount Plus, but it'll be interesting to see whether it actually gets a cinematic release.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to look, like if they let it out in cinemas, they would probably get more there.
I think so. And
because some people can't access Paramount
Apparently
Plus.
what they're going to do is it's not just set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. Apparently it's a little bit like them role-playing and it comes to life kind of thing, or something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that, because we know the Yui Bowl one was absolutely terrible, but that's Yui Bowl, that's what he does. James Cameron announced the title to the Avatar sequel finally after 250,000 years. It's now called Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah, and it's now going with Top Gun Maverick, because that has taken like 3 years to come out at this point.
That's taken a while as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that comes to life, because we all know that James Cameron, whenever he does a movie, all he wants to do is innovate. So he's used lots of new technology to film underwater and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to see. Warner Brothers didn't do much this year, but they did announce the sequel to Robert Pattinson's The Batman. So we know that Matt Reeves will be now busy writing the script to that. A couple other films, so Robotech, a new musical, Wicked, which should be wicked. Hopefully it's not as terrible as Cats, because that was pretty bad. And then Margot Robbie came out with an image for the new
Barbie. Now we just need to think who would be a human Ken doll.
We'll have to see who they just cast. I don't know. Did they actually have they announced the cast for Barbie?
I don't know.
Oh, well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Look it up. Google it.
Yeah, the other one I knew was Margot Robbie.
And lastly, but not least, Justin Lin tweeted his resignation from the Fast and Furious franchise after helming the last 3 films, which is a massive loss to that franchise. Due to creative differences, which is usually the way of I'm arguing with the studio and they're arguing with me. So,
and I'm pretty sure at this point with the Fast movies, you just have a whiteboard, bunch of ideas,
and they throw darts at it.
You just throw a bunch of darts, and then whatever one has a dart in it, you throw that idea in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly how they form a storyline for Fast and Furious now. They actually put it in a blender and then they hit Shrek.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure their actual story stopped at 7.
Yeah.
And now they're just going with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's all of the news coming out of CinemaCon. It's been a huge week in the movies, and now we're going to move on to the next stop. Oh, see what I did there? Josh Fiddles is going to talk about buses. Little ones, medium-sized ones, bigger ones, and double-decker ones. Stick around for Josh. Is that what we're going to do?
Yep. We're going to cut to Josh.
We're going to cut to Josh right about now. Welcome to the next segment. We're going to talk to Josh!
Oh, I'm late for the Rogues Den show. I should be on set right now. Off I go.
Josh, we're rolling!
Here I am. I just got off the bus.
Off the bus?
I just got off the bus.
Oh, we must be talking about buses today.
Yes, we are talking about buses today.
Right.
All types of buses, from a very small minivan right up to a double-decker bus.
Fantastic. Well, we've got Josh here, and he's going to give us a good rundown on buses. So take it away, Joshy.
Small buses in Australia can be from as small as a van with 12 or more seats, right up to a double-decker bus or a bendy bus. The first buses in Australia were in 1905, but they were very old. And
Oh, really?
They were not like the same as what we have today, but didn't have any covers or the technology like what we have today.
Yeah,
but they're not very
true.
reliable though.
That's why we got rid of them and got newer ones. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen a van with more than 12 seats before?
Yes.
That's classified as a small bus when you look at it.
No way. So do you have to have a special license
You
for
have
those
to have
ones?
a light rigid license to drive a bus with more than 12 seats.
So if you see a bus with more than 12 seats, it's most likely a bus.
It's classified as a small bus.
Oh, a small bus.
A small bus.
Okay, cool.
They can be from things like Toyota Hi-Ace vans, if you might have seen them around.
Yeah.
Toyota Coaster buses. You might see the odd Mitsubishi Fuso Rosa buses. They're small ones as well.
You know the thing with Mitsubishi? Their bits are shitty. Sorry.
The standard model buses that you might see around are big buses, but they can sit up to 45 people.
Yeah.
And they look.
Except when you used to go on a school run back in the 80s, I swear there wasn't 45 people in there. It was like 200 people in there.
No, it's just that what they're licensed to seat.
Ah, right. I see.
They can vary. They can vary between models, and not everything I mentioned in this podcast will be the same. Some might be a little bit different to others.
Okay. Why don't you run us through some of the manufacturers and motors and stuff?
There's Custom, there's Coachworks, Volgren.
Volgren or Volvo?
Volgren.
Volgren. Oh, okay.
Volgren. There's a Volgren. There's Express Coach Builders.
Yep. Scania.
Scania, yes, Scania, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, MAN.
Yep. And do they just do the engines or the chassis?
They build the bodies.
The bodies.
Well, the companies build the chassis. You know the chassis that the buses are on. You know how it says Mercedes-Benz chassis. The chassis is built overseas, but the bodies are built in Australia. The majority of the buses are built in Australia.
That's cool. All right, tell us a little bit more from your notes. What else is there?
Most buses are at least 12.5 metres long, and some can be 14.5 metres, some 18.5 metres.
So this was 12, this was 14, this is 18. I'm just showing scale.
Have you ever seen a big bus with 4 wheels? Do you know how you can tell the difference between a 4-wheel bus and a 6-wheel bus?
Well, one has 4 wheels and one has 6 wheels.
Yes, but how can you tell the difference between a heavy rigid and a medium rigid?
Oh, I don't know. You got me there. Tell me.
It's how many axles and wheels it has.
How many axles and wheels? So if one's got 4 wheels, what is it?
That's a medium rigid bus.
And one if 6?
That means it's heavy rigid.
There you go. So if you ever get stuck in trivia next time, you'll know.
Bendy buses can seat up to 65 to 70 people, depending on the model.
Yep.
Double-decker buses can seat up between 120 and 130 people, and that's more than a bendy bus and nearly twice as many as a standard model.
Nearly twice.
When you look at bendy buses and double-decker buses, they look nearly the same as length as an 18-wheeler semi-truck that I mentioned in my trucks podcast, but they have to be treated as rigid vehicles.
Oh, okay. Why is that? Because they don't have a trailer?
No, they're not as heavy as a semi-truck. They're the weight.
Gotcha. And don't drive through the heavy vehicle inspection bay like I did.
No. But buses do have very similar signs to trucks, but not as many.
Don't overtake turning vehicle.
Do not overtake turning vehicle sign, like we all know off the trucks.
And got the flashing lights.
And the bendy buses have got the long vehicle sign, but the one difference is that the buses will have the school flashing lights.
Flashy lights. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. Flashy lights.
Wigwags.
I'm an expert on buses thanks to Josh.
Wigwags.
Wigwags.
Have you ever been on a bendy bus or a normal bus?
I have been on a bendy bus.
The rideability is pretty good.
It's bendy. All right, tell us about some journeys. So what are some of the biggest journeys we have on a bus?
The longest urban journey in Australia is from Tullamarine to Frankston in Melbourne.
Yep.
And the longest interstate route is from Geelong to Adelaide.
And how far is that? It's
706 k's.
706? Wow.
708.
700. Oh.
708
That's
k's.
even longer.
Yes.
That's almost like driving from
That'll be
Melbourne to Adelaide.
or that would be like from Newcastle to Brisbane.
Oh yes, this is true.
Yeah.
That's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
A little bit. That's about almost 900.
Some buses have got everything that's built. Everything you see inside on the bus body is made in Australia. So not the chassis, the
Australian made.
Everything that's
Australia.
everything that's on the bus, including
You know who would be happy
seats.
about that?
Who?
Australia.
Everything that's built onto the chassis, so everything from the seats to the rails, the seat fabric and the floor is made in Australia.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and the lights as well. And
What else can you tell us about buses?
they transport you from one place to another.
Yep.
A coach can transport you from interstate or to another part of the state.
Yep.
And they can be specially chartered coaches for football players.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for football players.
Or movie stars.
Yes, movie stars.
Yeah. Or Kez.
Yeah, they use buses. They use buses when they film movies around. To carry the people around.
All right. What's one famous movie that stars a bus? I'll give you a clue. It starts with S and it stars Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Not sure.
Speed.
Speed. Oh, Speed.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Famous bus movie.
Of course it is.
All right, wrap us up. Tell us the last thing about buses.
We're going to see more electric buses and quieter buses.
Hope so.
Very soon the government is planning to get rid of diesel buses and replace them with electric buses that are more cost
look after the
effective.
environment because it looks after us.
Yes. Next time you see me, my hair will look very different when you see me.
His hair's going to look different. Wait,
my
what?
next episode.
Are you cutting your hair?
I'm getting it cut off after
We'll
6
never
months.
recognise you ever again.
I'll look very different when you see
You'll be
me.
Mr. Josh Riddles.
Yes, I will. My hair will look much shorter when you see me in my next
Josh,
podcast.
thank you for telling us all about buses today.
That's my pleasure.
And what are you going to be talking about next week?
The history of Australian TV.
TV.
There might be
Everybody loves TV.
There might be a little swearing.
No. Well, bus. Well, Josh.
Well, of course there is.
I'm going to go catch a bus right now. So let's stick around for Scott Golding's All About Sports. And then we got Rusey coming up after that with the news.
Stick around.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to Scott Sports. I'm Scott. I'm back with Adam.
Hi, team.
This week we'll be discussing round 8 of the NRL Telstra Premiership. What a week of football.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm happy, Scott. I'm happy because it's the Warriors' year again because they won this week. Don't worry about what happened against Melbourne last week. Everyone's forgotten that. It's the Warriors' year again. I'm a happy man. What happened in round 1?
So round 1. So the Broncos got the win over the Sharks, 16-7.
Yeah. It was a good game, man. Sharks came out on fire. Moylan, he scored the first try. Grubber behind the line, regathered. The battle for me was in the centres. You had Talakai and Katoni Stays going up against each other. But Brisbane, too much pressure, took the win. Happy for them.
Yes. Moving on to the next round. It's the Rabbitohs over Manly Seagulls, 40-22.
Yeah.
The Rabbits are on a hot pursuit
Yes.
to get in the top 4. Is it the top 3, top 4 this week?
Yeah, for sure. I think they're sitting in 4th or 5th place. But I feel sorry for Manly, man. They lost Carl Lawton. I don't know if you saw what happened
No,
there.
I did not see it.
Got a red card, put someone in a dangerous position, and it was dangerous. I'm sure there was no bad intent in that one. But running away, what was the final score? 40-22.
So 7 tries to 4, converting 5 out of 7, then Manly got 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I don't think it fully shows just how tight a game it was. Manly, to their credit, they put up a good fight.
That should have been Cleary's card last week. with his dangerous tackle. The next game, the Titans and Penrith. Unfortunately, Penrith got the win again against Titans 18-4.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big win to the Penrith Panthers. I thought that Titans were going to get the win, but
Yeah.
again, Penrith slipped away from the win, but their defense.
Yeah.
Credit to Cleary, 3 from 3.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he might be in Origin spot.
I reckon he's locked in, man.
But who knows? It's up to whoever the coach is for New South Wales.
Yeah. Fiddler's boys.
Fiddler.
See how they go.
Next game, the game we were just discussing before. The Warriors over the Raiders 21-20.
Yes.
Reece Walsh with the penalty kick.
Yeah, so Matt Lodge, so the game was pretty tight. I think the team that won didn't really deserve it, in my opinion, even though I'm a Warriors fan hard. Canberra came out on fire, man. They actually played really well. I think the big speculation that's going on with this game is Matt Lodge going down, taking a penalty, pleading for a high shot. It was high, Scotty. Was it as bad as what Lodge made it out to be? Probably not. I've seen worse. But he got the penalty right in front of the sticks. I think there was only 2 minutes left in the game. It forced the game to golden point because it got locked up at 20-all. And then Sean Johnson, the man, is back for the second time this year, mate. He put over the drop.
But
Take a
12 to 20 at half time.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that at half time? 12 points to 20 at half time.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a Warriors fan hard, but I feel for Canberra. I definitely believe Canberra. They should have continued on. They should have run away with it. I think the errors for the Warriors were quite high. But, man, Warriors, man, I'll take the win. Tell yeah, baby. What?
The next game. I'm pretty disgusted about this game, actually. The Parramatta Eels getting beaten 35-4 over the Cowboys.
Yeah, I know Parramatta's your team. They didn't play bad, Scotty. They didn't. Just the Cowboys, I don't know what's going on up there. They put together some good attack. They made it work. They ran away with it in the end. You guys will come back, Scotty.
Next week we'll probably come back. The closest game of the round is the Bulldogs over the Roosters 16-12.
Yeah, I definitely didn't pick this one. I thought the Roosters were gonna pump Bulldogs. I know the Bulldogs are, they're developing. They're starting all over again, but Auto Car, I don't know what's going on, man. They did really well. They definitely seemed to want it more than the Roosters. It was a passionate game. Maybe the Roosters didn't think it was going to be that difficult, but I enjoyed the game. Good. Go the Doggies.
The next game is the Dragons over the West Tigers 12-6.
Yeah.
That is another low-scoring game.
Yeah.
I thought the West Tigers... One of my good friends, he's a West Tigers fan. He was happy they won last week.
Yeah.
But this week, just the Dragons were too good for him. But
yeah, I think
in my opinion, Dragons are too good.
Yeah, there's still lots of positives there. I think the Tigers actually played really well, and if they had their moment again, I think they actually could have taken that game. But credit to the Dragons, man, they're doing well.
Another good game.
Not if you're a Newcastle fan.
Sorry, Newcastle fans. Again, every week, every time Newcastle get the penalty, it feels like, oh yeah, let's just take the easy way out and take the 2 points. Unfortunately, that happened in the Parramatta game last week.
Yeah, but we went to that game.
Yeah, so this game, the laugh, because my brother's a supporter, 50 points to 2. Wow, what a smacking.
Yeah, it was.
They should have made it 80, like the Warriors game last week.
Yeah.
But I think
maybe that's the only positive Newcastle can take, is that they didn't score more than 50 points.
They should have.
Yeah, but I do feel for the Knights. They've got the players there, I believe.
I think, Kellen Ponga was saying all this negative in the post-match.
He's on the money.
That's all we got for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys on another segment of the NRL. Over to you, Rusi.
Thanks, Scott. Hello and welcome to the news. I'm Rusi Komatai.
And I'm Brendan Smith. A strike is to commence on the 4th of May, Macquarie Street in Sydney, New South Wales. Teachers are protesting for pay increase and a fairer workplace. There has also been a teachers' shortage in New South Wales due to the coronavirus, which also has played a part in the strike action. The New South Wales Teachers Federation State Executive has made the decision for the strike after polling members and returning a unanimous vote. This same executive said, effective immediately, the Parliamentary government, PM, seeks to enter our schools. Members are authorised to walk out for as long as they remain on site. Strike action hasn't occurred since December, when they walked off the job for 24 hours to demand a pay increase of between 5 and 7.5%, an extra 2 hours release time to plan lessons. The Parliamentary government has maintained a 2.5% pay salary increase cap for public workers, which limits teachers' wage growth.
In other news, Lily Finati, a Nutri-Grain Series athlete, was diagnosed with coronavirus and later a heart disease called pericarditis, which has now led to doctors warning about coronavirus leading to heart problems. This diagnosis came a few weeks prior to the Nutri-Grain Series beginning and led to a long-time recovery for the athlete. Professor Jason Kokovich from the Victor Chang Cardiac Research Centre, VCCRC, said there are several new studies that pointed to an ongoing trend that resulted in coronavirus and heart damage. There was recently a study completed in the US which compared 663,000 people and found that those diagnosed with the virus had either more or double the risk or 63% greater chance of a heart attack within 12 months. While heart specialists agree Ms. Finati's case is rare, they said it's a warning for everyone about the effect of COVID-19 on the heart. Professor Kokovich said, quote, "Thankfully, it's a minority of people, quite small numbers, but the ways it can affect the heart is important, and we're developing ways to deal with that." Miss Finati has now since made a very full recovery and is back racing, but said that she would not push herself if she got diagnosed with COVID-19 again. Thank you for joining us this week for the news. I'm Rusi Komaitai.
And I'm still Brendan Smith.